Today, we are going to teach you a formula of sorts for how to make some Chinese cold dishes, 凉拌菜, focusing specifically on the Sichuan province because this is a big topic. We'll be showing you 3 classic flavor profiles. First, the kind of old school SHAOBAN, toasted chili flavor, that we'll be showing you using some shredded chicken. Second, tangcu, sweet sour, an absurdly simple classic that we'll just toss in with a bit of daikon. And yuxiang fish fragrant, which we'll be mixing in with some deep-fried lotus root. Of course, all of that said, definitely know that the whole essence here is that you can use any of these sauces with basically anything that you want. So all of these are actually pretty much interchangeable. So feel free to serve the daikon in chili oil or the shredded chicken in a yuxiang. Obviously, you can follow these recipes, but do think of this as more of a framework. So then, first up, SHAOBAN. For this sauce here, these here are going to be our fundamental components. Pause the video if you want to. Hongyou, Sichuan Chili Oil, Hulajiao, toasted chili flakes, some toasted sesame oil, and soy sauce. Now, 2 points here. First, for that chili oil, generally speaking, you'll want something good quality and homemade. So if you already happen to have some homemade Sichuan chili oil hanging around, definitely use it. This recipe was also tested with some proper homemade hongyou as well. But as a 101 video, we also wanted to keep things a bit approachable. So today, we'll be starting this off with our quick and dirty laogama-based substitute. To make it, to a hot wok, just toss in 1 tablespoon of oil, together with an equal tablespoon of laogama chili crisp. Then, to those, also toss in 1 teaspoon of a red fragrant chili powder like Kashmiri or gochugaru, together with a half teaspoon of a spicy chili powder like cayenne pepper. Over a low flame, just fry that all together until it's fragrant, or about 1 or 2 minutes, and then just set it aside. Then, second thing. For that toasted chili powder, today we are going to be pounding our own from whole dried chilies, but this might also be something that you could just buy. Something like this would be awesome. Thai prikbon would also be pitch perfect, and in a pinch, something smoked like chipotle would be slightly different, but still delicious. Either way, to do so, just toss a handful to a dry wok and toast over a medium-low flame, stirring constantly. Toast for about 8 to 10 minutes or until they're just beginning to scorch, and then toss those into a mortar. Pound those up, and this will leave you with a little bit extra because we'll only need that bit for the sauce. So then, to make said sauce, just mix in 1 tablespoon worth in with your chili oil, and 1/8 teaspoon each salt and MSG, 10 grams or about 2 teaspoons of soy sauce, another 10 grams or about 2 teaspoons of toasted sesame oil, and then that is ready to smother and mix. Now, for the shredded chicken today, this here was based off of some poached thigh, which we'll get to in just a sec. But definitely do feel free to make your life easy. Here in Thailand, we tested this once with some grilled chicken from the street as well. So if you're one of those with a Western supermarket roast rotisserie chicken habit, that should totally be tasty too. Either way, we'll just poach 1 large leg in with about a 1/2-inch knob of crushed ginger, a sprig's worth of scallion, and 1 tablespoon of Shaoxing wine. Then just poach that over a medium flame, uncovered, for about 15 minutes, or until it's done and a chopstick can poke right through. Then just shut off the heat and let that sit in the hot water for at least 30 minutes. Then take it out and let it sit for another 15 to get the surface to dry off a touch. And then shred it, skin and all. In the end, you should be looking at around 300 grams worth of shredded chicken. Then, to that, just toss over your previously mixed sauce. Then realize that this would be way more sensible to sort in a large mixing bowl. Then just mix that well, transfer over to your serving plate, and optionally top or mix with a touch of cilantro. And then with that, you've got yourself some SHAOBAN ji-si. Now, flavor profile number 2, tangcu, or a simple sweet sour. And these will be our fundamental components. Scallion white, granulated sugar, rice vinegar, and toasted sesame oil. Not much to prep for this, just mix that sugar in with the rice vinegar until it's good and dissolved, and then the scallion and the oil we'll just add in when mixing. Then, to prep the daikon, just grab 275 grams worth, Peel it and then slice that into sticks, roughly 3 millimeters thick and 5 centimeters long. Then just toss that into a bowl and mix in with an 1/8 teaspoon salt to let that purge. 15 minutes later, it should have released a good bit of its liquid, so wash that well, dip out the water, and give the daikon a light squeeze and let it drain. Then, once it's relatively dry, just toss it into your mixing bowl together with 2 sprigs worth of scallion whites cut lengthwise. Then add in your vinegar sugar solution, optionally a bit of fried or roasted peanuts for a little crunch, together with your toasted sesame oil, and then transfer that over to a serving plate. Tangsu daikon, also done. And then last up, fish fragrant. Now, fish fragrant sauce, classically, is something that's made using pickled Argentine chilies, which are unfortunately a famously difficult to source ingredient outside of Sichuan. We have a super old recipe working off of those chilies if you're curious. But today, we are going to be working off of Laogama Zhaojiao, Guizhou pickled chili. And you can also use Hunanese Duojiao chopped chilies if those are easier for you to find. Either way, using that as a base then, these are going to be our components. Aromatics, minced garlic, ginger, and scallion. Soy sauce, sugar, and some dark Chinese vinegar because we're not using that pickled Argentine. So just mix those all together. And at first, the scallion quantity might seem a little crazy. Just continue to mix and it will continue to wilt. Now, in Sichuan, probably the most iconic dish to see with this sauce is deep-fried wando or pigeon pea. Outside of China, you might be able to find those if you've got a good Indian grocer around. But we figured some deep-fried lotus root would also be a tasty and conceptually adjacent route to go. So, to make it, just peel a half kilo of lotus root and cut that into half-inch pieces. Soak those in water for about 10 minutes to get off a bit of that surface starch, and then give it a quick rinse and drain. Then just toss it in a bowl and coat with a bit of cornstarch, about a 1/4 cup or so, or enough so that the lotus root pieces are coated evenly. Then, to a wok with about 4 cups of oil. Heat that up until about 165 centigrade and toss the lotus root in. Then just deep fry that for about 10 minutes, or once the lotus has lost a bit of its moisture and has started to begin to get a bit golden brown. Then just remove, drain, toss in a mixing bowl, and add in your yuxiang sauce. Give that a good mix, toss it on a plate, and your yuxiang lotus is also done. Great to eat with a little beer or a strong helping of baijiu.
So there's this whole world of cold dishes in China, of course, and these are 3 Sichuan versions. And of course, in the future, we will cover more because we love cold dishes. So stay tuned. So right, check out the recipe in the description box. A big thank you for everyone that's supporting us on Patreon, and of course, subscribe for more Chinese cooking videos.